Hello and welcome to Mystery Behind History, a new segment started by me where I'm going to share with you all those mysterious stories that took place in history that we don't even know about, stuff that happened behind the scenes. It may have happened even in front of you, but it was so subtle that you don't even know about it. And once you come to know about these things, your perspective towards what happened on the field can change, and you may have those wow moments. You know what? Even that happened? Well, I didn't even know about that. And when I came to know about these things, I felt it's not very correct to keep all that with me, and I would want to share with all of you of all these unbelievable magical moments that happen behind the scenes, and that's something that we all should know about. First episode, what do I start with? The 2001 Kolkata Test was one of the most magnificent moments in Indian cricket, very iconic, and what happened around it made it even more special. India versus Australia. First of all, why did that India versus Australia series even happen? Late 1990s, the entire corruption scam happened. The turn of the century was going to be probably cricket's most ugliest phase because every team had somebody or the other, stuck in that scam coming out, and cricket was at its absolute low. And Indian cricket, well, it was at its absolute low just for the reason because in India, cricketers are not only cricketers, they are more than that. They are idols, they are heroes, and all of a sudden if your heroes are behind the bars, you feel betrayed, and that's the reason people started feeling that, if India wins, the opposition is not playing well. If India loses, India is intentionally not playing well. Then people felt there was no hard work, it was just this proper script in front of everybody. That's when BCCI felt an India-Australia series is very important. First test match, Mumbai. Australia just needing 47 runs to win in that final innings, and the same vibe was there that India intentionally gave away the match, and there was no sort of fight from the Indians. Australia were coming off a 15-match streak, and that made it 16 winning in Mumbai. Again, India were ahead in that game, 200 for 5, Australia in trouble, and then Adam Gilchrist came and changed the entire game. Let's move to the Kolkata Test match. Now the one that I actually want to talk about, and all those inside stories that I want to share with you. The first innings of the Kolkata Test, Australia come out to bat and Steve Waugh gets a magnificent 100. Harbhajan Singh gets a hat-trick, wickets of Ricky Ponting, Adam Gilchrist and Shane Warne. That hat-trick wasn't really seeming to be very useful. Obviously, he was the first Indian cricketer to get a test hat-trick. But then that hat-trick didn't have any sort of use. Instead, if you just see, that score probably from 600 was coming down to 400. That was the only that was the only difference that the hat-trick had made. India came out to bat, and that was an absolute miserable performance from the Indian batsmen. Tendulkar failed, Dravid failed, Ganguly failed. The only batter who got runs was VVS Lakshman. He got a good 50, but that wasn't enough. India were asked to follow on. Now, whenever a team is asked to follow on, it basically means that that team is already going to lose the match. And there's no way a team, after being asked to follow on, can win a test match, because till 2001, in the 130 years of test cricket, only twice it had happened that a team that was asked to follow on went on to win a test match. So the maximum that a team can do is possibly draw, that also with a magnificent effort, because winning was out of question. Now, till that innings, Rahul Dravid would come out to bat at number 3 and VVS Lakshman would come out to bat at number 6. But something special happened in that innings that Saurav Ganguly felt that VVS Lakshman is playing the Australian bowlers in a better way. He's more confident about playing them. So let me send him at number 3 for the second innings, where India were asked to follow on, and Rahul Dravid went at number 6. Now, who knew that one decision probably could just change Indian cricket altogether? Australia was still in a very good space, because by the end of day 3, they had Sachin Tendulkar out, who was possibly India's only hope till then. VVS Lakshman got a wonderful 100, but Australia were really not afraid about that, because they felt even if he gets 100, we'll get the others out in 20s and 30s and possibly chase a 50-run target in the 4th innings. But then Rahul Dravid joined VVS Lakshman and the day came to an end. Now, day 4 is very amusing, just in the sense that Michael Slater, in the morning of that day 4, Adam Gilchrist narrates this beautiful story that Michael Slater came out, and he removed a cigar from his kit bag, and he looked at, you had Gilchrist over here, you had Ponting over here, Hayden, Vaughan, McGrath, everybody around you, and he just looked at them and he was like, tonight boys, tonight. Today we are going to get them out and possibly win the series in India after 30 years, because Australian teams struggled to win a series in India for 30 years, and they were so confident. And I don't blame Michael Slater in any manner. Even if you call that overconfidence, I won't blame him, because that Australian team could afford to say such things, and whenever they put a team in that follow-on sort of a space, they were surely going to win that. In fact, they were going to insult that team in front of their own home crowd, and it would have been devastating for India if that would have happened. And Michael Slater was so sure that that is going to happen, that's why he told everybody. The irony of the situation is that everything was going to change from there on. VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid batted the whole day. Now that's what we saw on the field. They made that remarkable recovery. But again, some mystery off the field. Do you know that Rahul Dravid didn't even attend one practice session before that game? He was down with fever. He was not even going to play that game. He asked Saurav Ganguly that, do you feel that you need me? Ganguly was like, yeah, I obviously need you. You're Rahul Dravid. You're one of the upcoming stalwarts of a cricket game. And Rahul Dravid said, I may not be able to play because he didn't even attend a single practice session. Morning of the test match, he said, Saurav, I think I can play. And he was like, are you sure, Rahul? He said, yeah. He ended up scoring 180 in that second innings. That's Rahul Dravid. What about VVS Lakshman? He had a dodgy back. He was not able to bend while batting. So many instances in that test match you would notice that there are the chances for taking 2, 3. Lakshman would only take 1 and get off strike. All those runs that he had scored were of boundaries. He ended up on 281. You had 2 sick patients batting the entire day. Their order was changed just for that innings. Michael Slater was confident that Australia are going to win this. He had already organized a mini party. All these things just change the perspective of how you see that game, and you feel how much more important that was. And the big picture, that one test match made everybody forget that ugly past that had just passed by, and it was something, just a different spectacle. Even after the heroics of day 4, the test match didn't end. India, to win, still had to get Australia all out. That Australian team that would hardly get all out in the sort of peak years that they had at that time. Harbhajan Singh was fantastic. He bamboozled everybody, but still you had Hayden on one end. You still had the threat of Gilchrist. You still had Vaughan who could tonk them in the end. Who was the bowler who would get them out? Sachin Tendulkar. The Australians loved to sweep, and whenever Saurav Ganguly felt that the Australians are going to sweep, he would give Tendulkar, because Tendulkar was such a luring sort of bowler. He would bowl those very, very docile leg spinners, would force these Australian batsmen to play the sweep shot and would bamboozle them and would get them out right in front. The whole crowd going, Sachin, Sachin. Adam Gilchrist narrates this very wonderful story that when he had come out to bat, he was on a king pair. Now, king pair is when the batsman has already got out 0 on the first ball in his first innings, and he's going to get out on 0 on the first ball of the second innings as well. So he was on that king pair. Whole crowd going Sachin, Sachin, and he says, I was continuously telling myself, don't sweep, don't sweep, don't sweep. Sachin bowled that loopy leg spin. He went to sweep out in front, and he got a very, very embarrassing king pair, possibly the first Australian to get that. So Harbhajan and Sachin together got the Australians all out on day 5, India becoming the 3rd team to win a test match after being asked to follow on, and since then nobody has been able to do that. So only 3 teams in possibly so many years of rich test cricket have been able to do that, and India was one of them, and that test match changed everything. We all know what Dravid and Lakshman did on day 4, we possibly even know what Harbhajan and Sachin did, but the reason behind what they did and the stories surrounding those things, the entire planning of the India-Australia series, everything has a reason, and everything fell in place for India that day. And Saurav Ganguly, he created new heights as captain, and so did that Indian team, beating possibly the best team of their era. For many, many more stories, tune in on the next episode of Mystery Behind History, where I'll again unfold so many of these mysteries that possibly should come out in the public and everybody should know about them. And well, let's cherish this wonderful game that we have.